Hey guys, I am joined with Robert Guerrero, the four division champion.
Yes, four division
So
champ.
that's crazy. How does that make you feel when you say four division champ?
It makes me feel good. Just all the hard work, everything that I put in, and just kind of sit back and say, man, I went through the four divisions so far.
Yeah, and I would like to start off. What division was best for you? Like, I know you had a really successful career at featherweight. You were at welterweight.
Huh?
Oh, sorry, something was buzzing.
Oh yeah, it was my ring.
Oh, sorry.
It was my ring from my training camp in Vegas. So
Oh,
that's what that was.
no
It
worries.
was popping out.
So what division did you like to fight in the most? Like, was there a specific division that you felt the most comfortable?
I have to say at 135 pounds, you had everybody there. I mean, I think there was a lot of guys that I didn't get to fight at the time.
Yeah,
I wish I fought like Juan Manuel Marquez, Juan Diaz, Marco Antonio Barrera, Eric Morales. All those guys were all my division, and man, I was always the number one contender, but never got the shot.
never got the big fight. But getting to that, when you got to the welterweight division, you beat a very tough Andre Berto, and then you got your big shot against Floyd Mayweather. How did you describe that fight for yourself and the whole leading up to it? I remember watching an old post conference where you're at a face off and you're just going back and forth. Like, how was that build up? How was that timing for you?
Um, you know what? It's a whole different experience than any other fight I've been in. Any other press conferences. That's it's like a whole different world when you're getting in with the Floyd Mayweather, because I mean you have the big media tours, and also too the real big press conferences. And the one thing Floyd told me is when we very first faced off, he asked me if I was ready, and sure enough, I said, yeah, I'm ready. I went through four divisions, world champion a few times. I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
But he wasn't even talking about am I ready for the fight. He was talking about what comes with it, the whole media circus that comes, and the pressure from all over, from the whole world, just you know coming up to you, talking to you, asking you this, asking you that, all access, constantly filming you, following you everywhere you go, every move you make. I mean, you're under a microscope, and it just changes the whole dynamic of getting ready for a fight. And I really feel that that's one of the biggest factors in everybody when they get in with Floyd is being ready for what comes with the territory. And us fighters, we're always ready to fight. We're world champions. The thing that separates us is strategies and speed, power, different little things like that. I mean, it's always a small little edge that separates most fighters at the
And
top
that's got
level.
to from your training a lot, right? Like when you're getting filmed, how are you supposed to be training properly for that fight?
Yeah, I mean, they're just constantly following you around, and just always there, and you know, a lot of fighters will say, hey, you know what, I was 100% focused, this and that, but it does take your mind off. I mean, you got to sit down to do interviews, you got to sit down to talk different things, different strategies, all kinds of stuff, and when your mind is going somewhere else, for that split second, it's not focusing on what you got to do. So, it does take a toll on you getting into that ring. But you know what? I'm glad that I got that experience. I mean, it was Floyd Mayweather is the height of boxing. I mean,
Exactly.
it's the biggest you could get in the sport, and I was there. So I mean, it was incredible.
Yeah, you made it that far, so you were right at the tip of the iceberg. Like, and I gotta say, I remember from the build up for the fight with your father. How is Ruben Guerrero doing? I know he's an entertaining guy. How is your dad doing?
He's doing great. He's doing great. He's got a couple of guys getting ready right now. He was a little stumped from the COVID pandemic also too,
Yeah.
and his gym's barely opening back up. So right now he's like on cloud nine because he's back in the gym. He's got his guys scheduled with fights. So he's really excited about that. He's at my house. He's at my door every morning, getting ready to go run. So,
Oh,
he brings
perfect.
he brings the whole crew, and we all go run. So that's one of the nice things is is my father's always on it.
Absolutely. And you're a number one supporter too, which is great.
Yeah, and he's one of those guys that's a firecracker. I mean, once you light that fuse, he's going to explode.
Oh, for sure. That's why I loved watching his old interviews. They were the best. Um, so you had the Kama guy fight after that, the Floyd fight, if I'm correct. That could have been fight of the year, if not fight of the year. What do you take from that fight, like being in a dog fight like that? Do you enjoy that? Is that the fight you like? Obviously, it's not the best for your mentality, but what did you take from that fight?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I actually do enjoy fights like that.
Yeah.
You know, because fights like Kamagai, they push you to the limit, and those are the type of fights that I love because, you know, at the end of it, after the fight, you're not liking it so much because you're sore everywhere. But you know, it's those fights where you appreciate, like, wow, man, I went out there, we did it, we put a great show on for the fans, we worked hard, and you know, at the end of the day, we got the victory. But
Sure.
you know, it was well deserved and well earned. So those are those fights that you really appreciate.
I also wanted to talk about. I specifically remember watching your fight. I'm pretty sure it was Danny Garcia or the Thurman fight. I think it was actually both. But one of the fights when I was watching it, the commentary was very biased. I find that with boxing a lot. Me and my buddy were saying, okay, this fight is a lot closer than it's made out to be. I think it was the Thurman fight. What do you take away from like? Did you watch the fight and see how biased the commentary was towards that fight? And what do you think about the commentary? Like, it's a problem with all sports right now.
Oh, definitely. It was actually, you're talking about the Garcia fight. I mean, the
It's
Garcia fight, I still till this day think I won that fight.
yeah,
It's yeah, I mean, you know, you go back and you watch the commentary and all you hear is, I mean, I'll land 3, 4 solid shots and you hear one pop shot from Garcia and it's like he won the whole round. So you know, I always look back on it. It's kind of like the commentary, they kind of get used to that Floyd Mayweather type of commentary where, you know, he's one shot, but I mean, Floyd hardly gets hit. So, you know, it's a whole different ball game. But when you see another guy like a Danny Garcia or Keith Thurman that throw 1 or 2 pop shots, but they're getting hit with, you know, multiple shots, but that's just the way they commentate. And you know, it's a little frustrating when you hear it.
yeah.
And it does persuade the people that are sitting at home. And if you're not really true hardcore boxing fan and can see what's going on in the ring, you know, it kind of plays with your mind too. That's why when I commentate for PBC and Fox, I've always made it a point to be, you know, neutral. Make sure you give the other guy his credit where it's due because, you know, we all work hard, we train hard, we do everything we got to do to be ready for fights. And to have a commentator just bias, you know, with the A side, you know, it doesn't tell the whole story.
Oh, for sure. Like, I find it's in all sports, MMA and boxing. People are saying the judges are the problem, but it's the judges and the commentary because it like pushes towards, okay, that guy did win. I think it's wrong, but I thought that fight was a lot closer than it was made
Oh
out to
yeah.
be.
And it also definitely, it turns off a lot of fans because there's a lot of fans that can see what's really going on and you hear the commentary and they're just like, dude, come on, what's going on?
Oh,
You
it's
know, this
ridiculous.
guy throws one punch and you get all excited. I've always looked at it as it was I think it was an Oscar De La Hoya fight I was watching and he was fighting Pernell Whitaker.
Okay,
And,
yes. Rest in peace.
and he gets Pernell in the corner and he throws like a 15 punch combination. The crowd's going crazy. The commentators are going crazy. And you can hear one of the commentators like on the replay. He's just talking, oh, he threw a flurry of punches. Oh, beautiful. And they show the replay and he didn't land one shot.
Yeah, it's
And
embarrassing.
it's like, man, he didn't land one shot. And then during the fight, you see Pernell Whitaker just landing shots, body shots, landing jabs, nice left hands, and Oscar just moving around. And then the commentator goes, when Oscar's doing nothing, he's doing something. I just couldn't stop laughing. I'm like, man, they even have to make it look good when he's doing nothing. So, it's one of those things where they do get biased, and they do have the A-list fighter and the guy that's the guy. So they talk him up, but I've always made it a point when I do my commentary, it's like you got to give due where it's on both sides. The guy next to you can be biased, but I'm not going to be biased, especially being a fighter, being in the ring, knowing what it's about, having fighters against me that they've been biased with. So I mean, it's tough.
You came out of retirement in, I'd like to say, the end of 2018. You fought 3 fights. I mean, you got your first knockout in a while, which has got to feel nice, against Mate. I can't remember his last name. Are you still going to be fighting? Like, is this retirement back on, or are you still going to take another fight? Because you have won 3 in a row and looked great.
No, it's like how we started conversation, COVID. I just trained all year long, rested. And the one thing is, it's I mean, I'm excited for this year. I mean, there's going to be a big 2021 for me. So I just can't wait. Those 3 fights back, got me back in the ring. Came out of retirement. I took the retirement because of the fact that when you just take time off, you're always getting that, hey, when are you going to fight? Or, this or that. You want to just step back and relax. I was fighting a lot of fights, back to back. I'll fight like every 4 months and go at it. And tough fights. I mean, Thurman, you had Garcia, Mayweather, Adine, Kamagai, and those fights were all back to back to back to back. I mean, they'll fight every 4 months, and it was just taking a toll on me. And then also too, I would get back in the gym. And I would not, I wouldn't assess myself because it'd be so quick. I'll get back into the gym and start training, and I wouldn't step back and look at what I'm doing wrong. I started off at 122 pounds. Quick, fast, boxer puncher. Work behind a jab, combinations, just destroy guys. I couldn't even get on the inside. That's when I was in the lighter weights. That's the reason why, being a southpaw, big, hard hitting, fast hands. Where Marquez and those guys, a lot of them, they would move to the next weight class. So then I would move to the next weight class and get in the number 1 position, then they'll move again. So I mean, it was tough to get the fights. And as my career went on, the higher I got, I had like a chip on my shoulder, like, hey, I got something to prove. I got to prove, man, I can be here. Because I was moving weight classes so quick. I went from 135 to 47, I just jumped across 40 because nobody wanted to fight me at 26, 30, or 35. So I'm like, why even go to 40? They're just going to go to 47. So I'm just going to jump into 47, get into the position, and when they come, they're going to have to fight me. So that was the whole idea. But I developed that chip on my shoulder, like, hey, at 47, I can be here. I can be the guy. And, I did it with Adine, and then I proved it with Berto. Yeah. And after the Berto fight, like, it kind of just went to my head, dude, I can mow these guys down. So then I started walking guys down and trying to bang out big guys like Keith Urban, for instance. I mean, as an amateur, he was like 160 something pounds. And then as a pro, he's fighting at 47. Me in the amateur, I was 119 pounds. Turned pro at 120. And then jumped all the way to 47, like in a heartbeat. Yeah. So, I'm trying to bang these guys out. I mean, I'm doing damage on them, but at the same time in my head, I'm, thinking I'm that rough, actually tough guy that's gonna, mow these guys down and show the world, hey, I can get them. But, and it got me away from that, from what got me there. The boxing skills on a jab, foot, combinations, landing here and there, moving side to side, using bobbing and weaving instead of just walking the guy down. So, when I stepped away from boxing, that let me kind of look at everything, assess my fights, what I was doing wrong, and just went through everything and just let myself recover. And once I came out of retirement, I talked to the team, and I'm just like, hey, you know what? if we're gonna do this, I got to get back to what I was doing. How I started.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been doing. The last 3 fights I just had, went out there, subtle, work the jab, box, shake off some cobwebs, and get back to my game and not go right back into that cycle and just try to mow these guys down and show, hey, I'm back. So,
Are you
what was that?
Are you going to stay at welterweight?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'll be at welterweight. But it comes down to for me, it's just fighting a disciplined fight.
Yeah.
Using my jab, using my skills, and not just flipping out and go, you know what, I'm just gonna truck this guy.
Oh,
and that's the way I would think at 47 was I'm gonna truck this guy. I'm gonna see if he can handle it. I'm gonna take what he got and let's see if he can handle me. So that's what it went. And like I say a lot, I tell a lot of people is after I beat Berto, I beat Berto bad.
Yeah.
I destroyed Berto, and he was one of the biggest guys in the division, one of the strongest, fastest. And after that, I was like, man, I got it. I can take anybody. Which, went to my head, but you know what? I'm back on my game, and I'm excited about it.
I'm just saying, if you're at welterweight, you're on a 3-fight streak. I like Mikey Garcia versus Robert Guerrero.
I like that too. There's a lot of fights out there, a lot of great fights. Man, it's just about making them now, and we're looking towards the end of May to get back in the ring, and that should put us right back into those big mega fights. So I'm excited about that.
If you could fight any welterweight right now, would you have a name that you'd be able to pick out?
Shoot, right now probably Spence.
Oh, Spence, you'd like Spence?
Oh yeah, I love to fight Spence. He's at the top of the division, and it's getting into that position to get that fight, and we're like 1-2 fights away. So I'm excited about it, and he is the biggest dude in the division too. So
big boy.
Besides Keith Thurman, I think he's like the biggest guy out there. So it's exciting. It's exciting to be able to jump into that mix and get it on.
I want to get your thoughts on this because there's a big debate right now of who'd win. Let's get it from a real welterweight. I think Spence, but who would win, Terrence Crawford or Spence?
You know what? I think it's a pick'em fight, man. I really think it's a pick'em fight, and it's who's going to take control of the fight because, Spence, he has that ring generalship. He's relentless. He don't stop punching. He keeps coming. Yeah. If you watch his fights, it's just consistent, just tearing you apart, consistent coming at you with your jab combination. And it's not just like a nice little flurry and then, move. It's like consistently just banging you top, bottom, breaks up your body. And then, Crawford's the same way. The one thing Crawford, he starts a little later.
Yeah.
And then, he starts breaking you down, and then he picks it up towards the middle of the fight.
Oh, sure.
And then he can fight left or right. So, he changes it up if he has to. But I think it's a pick'em fight, man. I think first half will be Spence. Second half could possibly be Crawford if he didn't take a lot of punishment from Spence that first half of the fight, because I think if Crawford starts on the gas right out the gate, it'd be a really, really interesting fight.
Oh, for sure. Like my buddies all think Terrence, I think Spence, but it's a toss-up. It kind of seems like it's going to be one of those Pacquiao versus Mayweather situations where we won't see it till one of them's 40 years old, right? So,
it'll be one of those type of fights, but it'll be a lot more entertaining fight than Pacquiao.
Looking back, I just got a couple more questions. What fight sticks out in your mind? Like, what is your favorite fight that you can really think off the top of your head?
My favorite fight, I have to say, probably when I won the world championship for the first time at 126 pounds with Eric Aiken.
Okay.
That's one of my favorite, most memorable fights because it was my first world championship.
For sure.
I made him quit on the stool. It was James Toney's a real good friend of mine, and I've always watched James Toney's fights when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And he was on the card as the main event, and I was a semi. And then also too, the one thing that I cherish about that fight was the late Diego Corrales.
Okay, yeah.
And being from Northern California, Diego's from Sacramento, California. And when I was a kid, as an amateur, he used to come watch us all the time. Come to national tournaments and stuff like that. And then also too, when I first turned professional, I did a lot of sparring with him when he was getting ready for Joel Casamayor for their second fight. Yeah. And just being a great friend since I was a kid, all the way up until my pro career, and then also too to call my first world championship fight. It was one of the most memorable fights that I've had.
Perfect. And do you still enjoy, so you obviously enjoy the sport. Was that one of the reasons too for leaving the sport before your retirement, was you just didn't feel connected with the sport?
I just felt a little burnt out.
Yeah.
From just day in, day out. I mean, I've been boxing since I was like 6, 7 years old.
Yeah.
And then, as I turned professional, a lot of training camps. I was always in Los Angeles, California, Vegas, Big Bear, always constantly training and, putting my due in like you're supposed to. And, it just takes a toll on you, when you have kids and really, really young, and then you're away from home all the time. And then just back-to-back fights, especially, wrecking through weight classes, from 35, 47, just smashing through them. And then the type of fights I was in also too, I was getting into wars at 47. I mean, at the lower weights, I'll box guys' ears off and I just pick them apart, work behind the jab and take them out. I got to welterweight. I just wanted to go to war with everybody. And being a little guy, I mean, I got height. But I tell a lot of people it's different than just being tall in the division and having height with them, because you got guys at 147 pounds, they got more heavier, dense bones. They're coming down from 60 something, where I'm walking around like right now, I'm walking around about 52. So I'm like right there by 40. I'm right close to 47 already. Once I really step on the gas, in training camp, once I get out to camp, I mean, I'll drop down to like 42 and I have to start eating to stay at 40, 47. So, that's the size I am, so.
You don't even have to keep weight on.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was just taking a toll on my body and I needed the rest. So that's why I stepped away. But I mean, there's not a day go by where I don't love boxing. I mean, I love it with the passion. I mean, I get up, run, train. I love the feeling of getting in that gym and just coming out like if I'm feeling sick because I put in so much work in that day.
Yeah. My last question is for you. You gave us a little hint. You said May. Is there any names on the contracts that they're tossing around out there for you right now?
Yeah, there's some good names out there right now. I can't throw nothing out yet. Everything's
I tried.
But,
come on, get that.
But yeah, but May is the end of May we're looking at, and we're excited about it. So right now everything's in the talks, and we're putting it together. So I'm excited, and man, I can't wait. I can't wait to get back out. It's been a year, and man, right now I'm just chomping at the bit. So. Can't wait to go.
Rust, don't worry.
What was that?
Do you believe in ring rust? Like, will that be affecting of you, or?
No, I honestly think ring rust is just, when you hear people say ring rust, I think it's just an excuse. We're not looking good. And, when you're in the gym and you're sparring and you're training and you're doing it, I mean, it is. I mean, the only change and difference is, you don't got a headgear and you got the small gloves on. So
for sure.
It's, for me, it's just staying in shape, taking care of business, always being in the gym, and you keeping those joints and everything oiled up. You don't get ring rust.
Yeah, I definitely got to work on that myself. Hopefully, I'll be back in the gym again. I really appreciate you coming on the show. I'll be glad to have you again, hopefully in the future. It was awesome having you.
Oh, most
Uh,
definitely. I'd love to be on as soon as we announce the fight, who it's going to be, where it's going to be at, and the actual date. For sure, I'll be on with you again.
that's perfect. And another name before this makes sense too. I was actually thinking about this before Mikey Garcia. He was coming out of retirement too. He fought Floyd Mayweather. Maidana versus Guerrero would also be a good fight.
Hey, actually, we were supposed to fight.
Oh, really?
So we were supposed to fight. It was we were going to fight in San Jose, California.
Yeah.
And 10 days out to the fight, I tore my shoulder.
Oh, wow.
And I tore my rotator and I had to get surgery. So that fight got scrapped and we never got to meet. But I think that'd be a great fight too, especially the way Maidana comes. I think that'd be a fan favorite right there.
Oh man, that's fight of the year right there. But he went on the Burger King diet too, and he lost all his weight now, so he's all good.
He can still go on that Burger King diet because they have that Impossible Whopper now. That's not actually a meat patty.
We don't have it here yet. We have no, we have some Beyond Meat and stuff, but like I went. You don't? Do you have Wendy's in the States?
What was that?
Do you have Wendy's in the States?
Yeah, we do.
They have like their burger, like their plant burger here. It's disgusting. We want meat. We're men.
Yeah, well, we haven't had them have that here yet, so it's probably coming this way.
Oh, for sure. All right, buddy. I really appreciate you having on, and definitely let's get you back on again.
Hey, no problem, man. Thank you very much.